Hi there, I'm Camille.
And I'm Gretchen. Welcome to Starting Over Podcast. Glad y'all are here. We want to talk today about, Camille and I are two women in our 50s. We have no competition with women whatsoever.
Oh, no,
I really hope y'all join that bandwagon of just let's support each other.
Yes.
But, I know in my career, starting out as a model at a really young age, there tends to be, and y'all, it's been around for I don't know how long, but there tends to be a stigma that in order to be accepted or liked or appreciated by a man, you need to show some sort of your body or be sexy or And you know what? That messes a lot of people up.
Yes.
That messes a lot of people up.
Well, here's the conundrum that young girls get into, and I've got a young client right now who is a model, and she got in a situation where she's topless this last month, and just she's covering herself, but
the message, it's still, the mind is like, okay.
And so that's where you go that you kind of do that, and then there's maybe going to be an expectation of more, and you get used to that. But this is what they want. Like this is what she thinks they want. So she wants to make them happy. And that mindset of I've got to make them happy to get something back. Or they're going to get me my dream. Like they're going to make me famous. Nope, they're not going to do anything for you except for take your pictures if you let them like that, right?
Right.
Didn't you learn, that nobody has the authority to really give you your career or give you your dreams and aspirations? And did you hear that?
So let me just back up. And this was something I had to learn the hard way. Fashion is not directed. So if you're looking at something online, we used to say magazines, but any kind of advertisement, you may think it's for women buying fashion. It's really not. The motive and the idea is for men to think that's attractive, therefore women will buy it. So the message is, how will men perceive this?
Yes.
Not granted, I get there are some fashions that men think are hideous and women are like loving on that, and that's different. But overall, for instance, when you wear a cocktail dress, okay, when you wear a gown or anything that's formal, you think about it. Most of the time, they're going to have strapless, shoulders showing, low back, slit, low cut, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because that is considered fancy, or that's considered a cocktail type wear. But it's not for the fact of other women across the room going, oh my gosh, girl, I love your dress. Where'd you get it? It's for the reaction of men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Well, even high heels, I think they were designed by a man, weren't they?
They were designed by a man because he wanted to be taller.
Okay.
Because it was a pecking order of men, like who's more masculine. So
they were designed for men, though. Men were wearing high heels.
They were designed for men. Yes,
yes,
because they wanted to look bigger. Yeah. I mean, even tights, like stocking tights, those were invented by men too, and that had to do with being warm. And you think about men wore wigs.
Oh, and makeup.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
England and all those, especially in the legal arena. Yeah.
But you know what? I have been in that situation as a young model. I started modeling in my teens, and I wasn't in my teens when this happened, but I was a young model. And I remember going to a studio of a photographer. Now, we're not talking somebody that is paid by Vogue or somebody that has that kind of credential or credibility. You're most of the time when you're in modeling and maybe you're trying to build your book, and he's trying to or she's trying to build her book as a photographer, you just come up with ideas and situations and so forth. It's part of the business.
Yes.
However, I had this photographer, I think I've shared this before, that was doing this art project. And I had seen other images, and yes, it was a form of art. And there are photographers that think that the body is a form of art, which we know it is. I mean, Michelangelo and all those kind of stuff.
Yes.
But I remember I was so young, and again, I wasn't underage, so I was legal. But the premise of this photo shoot was everything was done as a silhouette.
Oh.
So while I was nude, I remember I was sitting on the ground and my feet were up and everything was up to my chest. And it was a silhouette, so you saw the side of me, but you could see the outline. but it wasn't the image that I felt so horrible about. It was getting from, even though I had a towel or a robe, I still had to take it off, and he still was there.
Yeah.
He still was there. You know, and I think back and I think, did those images help my career? No.
Nope.
You know, there's a place in modeling where you need to have a body shot of some form so that they know what does your body look like, and you are the coat hanger and blah blah blah.
Yep.
Doesn't mean it has to be sexy. It just needs to have some body shot. That was never an image that I made money on. You know what I'm saying? It didn't get me anything.
But that's the mindset is what I'm saying is these as young, when we're all young and we're all naive and we're all impressionable, I'll get you this. You know, you just got to do that. And isn't that what Weinstein went down for? You know, he was saying you're going to have to do sexual whatever or you're not going to get the part. So if that, and this is what I tell women, nobody's going to give you anything for that. You're not going to get rewarded for that. In fact, I kind of think men lose respect for us after they've had sex with us, after they get what they want out of us, right? I'm not saying all men, but if that's their agenda.
If that's that kind of man, we all know. We know that's happened
right.
for a long time, and that.
That's right.
What Camille and I want to just make sure we get across is, women, don't feel like you can't be beautiful or you can't be sexy because you're trying to get that reaction from another man. You know, I know you know this in your practice with people. A lot of men don't want their women dressing a certain way because they don't want the attention from another man. My experience has been because you have the same thoughts about another woman that you're a little guilty of.
Well, and they don't want any other guy thinking that about their woman they're with. Of course, that's what that is. Of course,
right,
yeah.
Right.
But see, so there's a double standard, okay? So it's like, you know, there's something called the Madonna whore syndrome, where the man wants the perfect little woman, the perfect little wife, the virgin that's only there for him. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, then that whore syndrome, Madonna whore, is like, that's the other kind of girl. So there's two types of girls in men's mind, right?
Right. Yeah. So the fantasy of you know, not for all men, please don't come hate at us. We're just talking about some. But you know, the fantasy woman oftentimes does not look like the person in their life.
Nope.
Does not dress like the person in their life. Does not act like the person in their life. You know, which is, you go down the whole road of like porn. That's so unrealistic.
Oh yeah,
for what women are really like. And the funny thing is, I mean, when you have a man that really understands that and respects it and is like, yeah, that's gross. That's not even normal. Yeah. When you're competing, so to say, let's say you do have somebody in your life and you're competing against a fantasy, that's hard.
Yes. That's
hard on a woman because you can't live up to an idea that isn't true.
No.
That's not even realistic.
Very unrealistic expectations with porn. And young men see porn, and that's what they objectify women. So in relationship issues that I help deal with, there's a lot of objectification with women. And again, the good girl, we're going to be good girls or bad girls, right? So all these little stereotypes. But it's really tricky as a woman on knowing exactly what to do to make a man happy. And so that's where we're like, how about just make you happy?
Yeah. Which brings us to a place when you shop. And let me just preface this. When I was going through my divorce, I had a counselor that said, go do something for you. Put some investment in you. I don't care if it's chapstick. Yeah. I don't care if it's gum. Right?
Yeah.
And so I went, at some point I went to Victoria's Secret and I bought like 3 colored bras because I was kind of never really
allowed
to wear colored bras. And I remember the person at the sales desk was like, oh, who are these for? And I was like, they're for me.
Yeah.
They're for me. So there's nothing wrong with dressing in a way that you feel sexy, you feel attractive, you feel whatever it is. But do it for you, because what happens is when you develop that confidence, you will get that from the person you love.
Yeah.
But we've seen too many times, and Vegas has got them everywhere. You know, you see women, they start off the night and they are just in those tiny little bandage dresses that barely cover their ass, and then they're going to go out drinking and stuff. And it's like,
that's right.
Is that what you really want? Is that is
Who you
that
wanna
how
be.
you really feel about yourself? Because I don't think it is. But somewhere along the line, we as women don't feel like we can be sexy or attractive unless we're showing
Some
a
skin.
portion of our bodies.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think we think we need to compete in that world. So, and some women just don't compete in that world. They just don't think they can, or they just don't. But there is a competition out there, which is, again, I want to dispel that. You don't have to be any of that to find love. You don't have to give anything away to find love. But that's the trick: is you have to do this or prove that or show me that, or you're not going to get what you want.
You know, and I want to clarify too. If you are, if you're a woman, and let's say, for instance, you work out really hard, and you are proud of your efforts, by all means, show
that.
it.
Yeah, show that up.
By
That's right.
all means, if you're a woman that's a mature age and you still want to wear a bikini, go for it.
Yep.
We're certainly not saying like you should be a prude and you don't need to dress that way. Our whole message is dress how you want to, because it makes you feel good, not because you think you need the acceptance
Yes.
from a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, advertisements in general, I mean, look at the whole, and the leaders of Victoria's Secret will say this. The whole reason why they had the show for so many years was because it was a fantasy.
Yes, they're selling the fantasy.
They're selling the fantasy, And I have found, watching those shows, like, I found that I want to feel that confident.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, those models can be inspiring to me. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'll never look like that. To me, I'm like, you know what? I want to be able to be that confident.
Yeah.
Not that we're walking on a runway.
For you.
But for me. And so I know we've talked at times, like Camille and I both love a pretty set, whether it's bra and panties or whatever. And it's worn and no one else sees it, but we do.
That's right.
But we
right.
feel it, and that's what you should shop for. That's what, not saying again like you can't do the bedroom thing, I'm not saying that. But just in general, just know it's okay to feel good for yourself.
Agreed. 100% agreed. Yeah. I think that's smart. Yeah.
And I think that, we are two women with large chests. And,
Naturally.
Well, I'm not, but she is. You two can buy yours like I do with mine.
Yeah.
But, I've also learned, too, that while as I've gotten older over the years, I may not want to show them as much, but there are some shirts, it's like, there they are.
Can't help it.
There they are. If I wear a t-shirt, there they are. I'm not really trying to wear something. Or you go to the gym, there they are.
Yeah.
So I get that there are some things that you just can't help wear.
That's right.
That, that they're going to show that, but that doesn't mean that you're out looking for a reaction.
No, and I think that I think there's a maturing, when I was younger, when I was a junior high school student, and it's like when everything starts developing when you hit puberty. Oh my gosh, I was uncomfortable. Because there was now eyes looking at me, and I was walking down church aisle, and I didn't have a face anymore. I felt gawked at, right? And
Did you mature early?
I matured, and it wasn't slow maturing. It was like, there they are. So I had to wear a bra, and I just was uncomfortable because I never had that kind of attention before. I never had that kind of looks before, and I kind of had a hump on my back as I was leaning over. I was trying
to make yourself small,
and that just made you look, So it was an uncomfortable experience for me, and I can see where, again, when you get your confidence and you're okay to show yourself off, that's fine too. But you want to come to that naturally by yourself, not pushed into it. I think trauma is when you're kind of pushed into something and you think you're going to get something for what you're offering. I'll give you that. It should not be something you're bribed. You shouldn't be giving something away that you're not comfortable giving away if you're not ready for that.
And I think too, it's really, I know I've been through it. I'm sure you've been through it too. When you have a male in your life that gives you not a compliment, but something really disrespectful, it's a memory that hurt.
Yeah.
You tend to weigh your self-esteem based on that expression or that acceptance or that compliment or no compliment. I remember one time I was dating this guy, and we were serious. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
date. We went out of town, and I thought, I'm going to go buy something pretty for him to see. And when I wore it, he never said a word.
Oh, wow.
And so in my head, I remember thinking like, oh, I must be ugly,
Unattractive,
I must be
yeah.
fat, or I must be whatever,
Yeah.
And then I got to the part I thought, well, you know what? I picked it out because I liked it.
That's for you.
I'm gonna wear it anyway.
Yeah,
I don't care,
yeah, that's right.
And it became a part like I don't really care to dress for you anymore because you don't have enough respect to know my efforts, And I think women, that's how we need to dress. Period. And when you have that confidence and you dress that way, you will get noticed.
Yeah.
You'll get noticed by the right people. And if your spouse or significant other isn't paying attention, shame on them.
Yeah.
How do you help couples that are not expressive about compliments like that?
Well, a lot of times, what you have to be willing to do is look at the language, like what's your love language? And it's validation. So if they're not getting validated in some way, and maybe you want to be validated for your looks or for your efforts or for your working out, that you're keeping your body, whatever.
Right.
You may want to need validation. You need validation for that, but you need to make sure that person respects you and that you're respecting them and you're both validating each other for whatever you need. But it's just about meeting each other's needs. But I'll tell you, once you get in a relationship, girls sex it up. There's a lot of sex it up kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So, and that gets you attracted. Then you're attracted. Men like that. They want your attention, etc. But when you get in a relationship, there isn't a sex it up moment out of that relationship kind of thing. So there's kind of a way that you kind of settle in. It's an attraction. You're drawing men to you when you're sexing it up. And again, nothing's wrong with that. That's nature, right? That's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
But when their relationship is happening, there's more than the relationship other than just looking good for each other. Yeah.
And you know what? There's certainly nothing wrong with getting dressed up and he looks good for you and you look good for him. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But just make sure. I think this is where.
But if you're depending upon that,
and
if that's all you are to him as a body, okay, that's what we're talking about. Is that's not gonna bless you.
It's not sustaining you.
And you don't want to just lead with your looks. You want to lead with your intelligence and your opinions and all of you. You're more than just beauty. You're more than just a body.
And you know what? Who cares what stage or age or size you are? Like that can't be the thing of your confidence. It just can't. I know that when I was through with my treatment, there's a real thing. It's called a chemo tummy, and so the whole trunk of your body, it's like
it's absorbed all that toxins.
It's just flubby, and I've never had that before. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, what, even though I was so happy to not be filled with cancer anymore. Now you got to get used to the new you. Yeah. Till I got to a place that I thought, you know what, like this is me. Yeah. This is me, and okay. Yeah. I'm not competing on a stage anymore in my 20s. I'm going to make the best of whatever I have, and I think that goes with. If you have war wounds from giving birth, so what?
Be proud of those.
So what?
Be proud of that stuff, man. That's right. That's right.
And if you want to have surgery, mommy makeovers, do it.
Again, be proud of those scars too.
Do that. I'm certainly not. I mean, I've had my breasts done.
Yes.
Certainly, do that. We just want you to let yourself off the hook. Yeah. And maybe rethink the why. Because with anything in a relationship, if you're doing something to get a reaction, that means you're begging for it. Yeah, and that doesn't ever feel good.
And confidence is the best aphrodisiac. Okay, confident people are the sexiest people. Yeah. I mean, there's some people I'm going to say like John Malkovich. Okay, not the very attractive man, but very sexy. He's got a swagger. I think he gets a lot of game because he's just got that confidence. So it's really about doing things for you when you're ready for, and don't compromise your integrity for someone's approval that isn't really going to matter down the road.
Right. Hey, everybody, we appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. Back home. Oh, no, we're not back home. We're starting over. We do have another podcast called Back Home Beauties, but anyway, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff.
And if you want to book us and find us, you can get on startingovercommunications.com.
All right, everybody. See you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.